So welcome to all of you to the Gita Sandesh program. This program is brought to you by ISKCON Bangalore. We are located in HRBR layout, and our deities' names are Shri Shri Gandharvika Giridhari, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we have Shri Shri Lakshmi Narasimhadev also, and we also have Balaji, Bhaktavatsala Balaji. So yesterday we were talking about the context of the Bhagavad Gita. How many verses it has, how the Bhagavad Gita is broken into 3 different sections. The first 6 chapters called Karma Yoga, the middle 6 chapters called Bhakti Yoga, and the final 6 chapters called Sankhya Yoga. And in the first chapter, we are introduced to Sanjaya, Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana, Arjuna, and briefly Krishna. See, even to be evil, you have to be very intelligent. So I'm sure many of you would have heard about IQ, right? What does IQ mean? Intelligence quotient. And there is a way in which it is measured scientifically. And if you take that Mensa test, then it is determined, what is your IQ. So this is called the intelligent quotient. There is one more thing called the emotional quotient, which is how mature a person is emotionally. And there is one more quotient called SQ. Can anybody guess what SQ stands for? IQ is intelligent quotient. EQ is emotional quotient. What do you think SQ stands for?
Spiritual quotient.
Spiritual quotient. Who said that?
Mataji Poonam.
Poonam, yes, very nice. Does everybody have spiritual quotient? No. But spiritual quotient is also important in how you lead your life, which is what we're going to discover today. You may have IQ, you may have EQ. If you don't have SQ, you are practically useless. How does EQ help us? EQ helps us in relating to others, developing an emotional relationship, and a bond with somebody else. How do you think spiritual quotient helps you? Can somebody answer? Very good guess that SQ is spiritual quotient. But how do you think spiritual quotient actually helps us? Anybody wants to take a guess? How does spiritual...
In understanding what is right and what is wrong. And right and wrong, I think.
To decide what's right and wrong. What else?
Actually, we according to Hinduism, we say that the other person also has God in them, so we should respect every human being.
Very beautiful, because there is Paramatma in everybody, not just another human being. Paramatma is there in butterfly, also cockroach. But we admire the butterfly, we are scared of cockroach, right? If we see a butterfly, do we look to kill it? No. But if you see a cockroach, will you try to kill it? Definitely. So it's an interesting point that you brought up. Actually, we should be able to recognize Paramatma in everybody's part. Actually, spiritual quotient means to be able to understand the bigger picture of life from a spiritual perspective and to develop a deeper character. That you have to go beyond just the material things. That's why great sages were always so calm, so peaceful. Because they've gone deep into the scripture and they've understood that ultimately all of us make mistakes and we have to learn to tolerate. That is the word that Krishna is going to use in the second chapter. In the second chapter, Krishna is going to tell Arjuna, see, sometimes when we do our duty, the outcome makes us really happy. Doing the duty itself makes us very happy. For example, if a mother has to wake up in the middle of the night and feed her child because her infant is hungry, it makes the mother happy, ideally. But at the same time, we should not avoid our duty because it causes distress or sadness. So in the second chapter, Krishna is going to tell Arjuna, we should not do our duty because it makes us happy, and we should not avoid doing our duty because it gives us distress. Rather, we should do our duty simply because it is necessary for us to do our duty. It is our primary responsibility. So, which is why we were saying yesterday that Krishna focuses on the importance of dharma, doing our duties and responsibilities. But to understand what is your duty and responsibility, first of all, you need to understand who you are. If I don't know what my identity is, do I know what my duties and responsibilities are? It's not possible. If I'm a doctor, I've gotten qualifications and I have to practice. I can't simply study MBBS and then not practice, because I may have the title of a doctor, but I will not be considered a practicing doctor. Similarly, with scriptures, you can't simply say, oh, I attended 18 chapters with ISKCON HBR layout. Now I know everything. No, you have to actually practice it. One aspect is learning the theoretical side. The second aspect is actually practicing what you have learned. So yesterday we discovered how Arjuna was thoroughly confused about what he should do. And he's going to admit it today in the second chapter. So if we focus only on our material desires as Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana were doing, ultimately it will lead to loss, spiritual loss. However, if you focus on your spiritual desires and spiritual activities, it will ultimately lead to your victory, spiritual victory. Therefore, spiritual quotient is an important aspect of our life. Many of us worry more about our IQ. Maybe a few of us worry about EQ, but nobody talks about SQ, the spiritual quotient. So the theme question for yesterday was, what is the Gita teaching us? Is it teaching us that if the situation is difficult, we should just abandon and let go? Or is it teaching us if the situation is difficult, we should stick to it and try our best to learn from the situation? So most of you got the right answer. You said the answer was B. That's exactly what the Bhagavad Gita is teaching you. Yes, situations will be very difficult, but that doesn't mean you should run away from it. And that's exactly what Arjuna wanted to do. He wanted to run away because he thought, I can't manage the situation. And which is where we will begin our second chapter today. Before we begin, let us actually recite the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times for all auspiciousness. We've already done the Mangala Charan, but now we can recite the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. On the poster, you would have seen that the title of chapter 2 is Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya means to count, to analyze. So it's an analytical study of the truth. How can one study the truth? Well, we have to study the truth by hearing from a spiritual master. So Srila Prabhupada gives the title, English title, as Contents of the Gita Summarized. Which means if you don't have time to read the Bhagavad Gita, but you manage to read the entire 76 verses of chapter 2, then you're good to go. You've understood everything. Yeah. So chapter 2 is divided into these sections. How Arjuna surrenders to Krishna. He's ready to learn. How Krishna begins to teach Arjuna all about what is Atma, the spirit soul. Then Krishna is going to talk about two kinds of dharma. Remember, we spoke about dharma and I said, you will discover we have our own opinions of what is dharma. But our opinions does not matter. What Krishna thinks about dharma is what is most important, and therefore we should be ready to follow Krishna's instructions as it relates to the two kinds of dharma. And as we said yesterday, ultimately all of us are looking for lasting happiness. How do you get to that lasting happiness? Krishna is going to tell us how to get that. And for that, what you need to do, what should be your mindset, what should be the activities, what should be your thought process, etc. So in the first chapter, Arjuna was lamenting. That was the single word summary. In the second chapter, what was on the poster as a single word summary? Can somebody tell me? On the poster for today's chapter, what was the single word that you saw?
Identity.
Identity. Correct. Very good. So Krishna is going to first establish for Arjuna what is his real identity. Because if you don't know your real identity, then your duties and responsibilities that you're performing have not much of a significant value if you've not understood who you are. Therefore, Krishna is going to first teach Arjuna, you first understand who you are. On the one hand, you're a Kshatriya. On the other hand, you're a family man. But the most important identity that all Jivatmas carry is that I am Atma. I am not this Deha, because the Deha is temporary. So only when you focus on the fact that your real identity is that you are the Atma, then from the Atma, your duties and responsibilities start. So first, Krishna is saying, you first worry about your duty and responsibility as an Atma. Atma is simply occupying this body. Then you have to worry about what is the duty and responsibility for a human being in a particular body. Either you're a man or a woman. You're an adult or you're a child. You're a husband or your wife. You either are the parent or the children. Then from here, all the other duties come. But the first duty is Atma. So Krishna is going to talk to us about the importance of understanding the difference. So let's look at what Arjuna is saying here. Arjuna gives the fifth reason in the second chapter when he says, hey Krishna, I'm so thoroughly confused because I don't know which is better. Is it better that I kill them or is it better that they kill me? What is the best outcome in this situation? And because he's so confused, he tells Krishna, Karpanya dosho pahata svabhavaha prichami tvam dharma sammudha cheta yatreyasyan nischitam brohitanme shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. Arjuna is telling Krishna, now I'm confused about my duty. And because I'm so confused, I have lost all composure. Composure means the ability to keep things together. Because of miserly weakness. So Arjuna is telling Krishna, Krishna, I'm so confused, I've become weak. Weak in mind, weak emotionally. And it's this weakness that is preventing me from making a decision. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Many of you may have heard of the movie Lion King. It is a cartoon film, but a very nice film. Who is the person that becomes orphaned in that story? Does anybody know the name of the character?
Car.
Huh?
Car, Mataji.
No, who becomes orphaned? What's the name of the little cub? Simba, right?
Simba.
Simba, yes. So what happens? Simba begins to hang around with all the other animals. Does he act like a lion or does he start acting like others? What does he do?
Acting like others.
Acting like others. So in this case, Simba lost sight of his true identity. He forgot that he was a lion. So he was timid, he was afraid, he didn't stand up for himself, all because he had forgotten that he was in the lion's body. And why? Because he was hanging out with the other animals. So he began to depict the behavior of the other animals that were lower in terms of hierarchy in the jungle. Until Rafiki comes and tells him, "Hey Simba, don't you remember you are a lion? Why are you acting like this? You are even more powerful than Scar." So similarly, Krishna says, "Don't you remember, Arjuna? You are Atma. You are not this body. In this life, you may be a Kshatriya. Previous life, you may have been a Vaishya. In a future life, you may be a Brahmana. So every time we take birth, our duties and responsibilities going to change based on whether we are man or woman, which varna we are in, which ashrama we are going through as we go through life. Hence, the beginning of your spiritual journey starts by acknowledging that I don't have all the answers. That is the stage Arjuna has reached now. I don't have the answers, Krishna. So what does Arjuna say? I am weak. I am confused about my duty. Therefore, Krishna, you are my best friend. I am now ready to make you my spiritual master. Please accept me as your disciple. I'm surrendering to you and I'm ready to hear what you have to say. So to surrender as a disciple, it begins by acknowledging that I am weak. I don't have all the answers. It's only when somebody reaches that stage where they are searching for an answer, then the Lord responds by sending Guru into their life. So either seek refuge in the Lord, you pray to the Lord and say, "My dear Lord, I am thoroughly puzzled by this situation. I don't know what to do. I am suffering. I am confused. I don't know what is the right decision." Then suddenly Krishna is paying attention to you because you've knocked on his door and you have said, "My dear Lord, please help me." So from the relationship of friendship between Arjuna and Krishna, the relationship has now changed to one of Guru and Shishya for the rest of the Bhagavad Gita. So the friendship is set aside and Arjuna is ready to hear from Krishna as Guru, because wisdom flows from the lips of a master, spiritual master's mouth into the ears of the disciple. Interesting. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will repeatedly tell Arjuna, hear carefully, listen well, have you understood? Krishna is a wonderful teacher. Are you listening, Arjuna? So Krishna is anxious to know that Arjuna is ready to actually hear the answers. In our scriptures, it is said, many benefits happen when there is a conversation between the Guru and Shishya. And sometimes this conversation happens in a group. So the Guru may be giving a class. Hundreds of people are sitting in that class. One person may ask a question. But when all the others hear the answer, everybody benefits. So our Shastras say, the person giving the class is benefited. The person asking the question is benefited. The person hearing the class and hearing the answers is also benefited. And the place in which such a spiritual class is given, such a pravachan is given, that place becomes holy. It becomes non-different than Vaikuntha. So in our culture, I'm sure your grandparents or maybe your parents will tell you, in the olden days, they used to sit and listen to Harikatha. They would do it every Friday or every Saturday or every Sunday, or maybe in some households, they would do it every day. That culture is completely lost today. Not everybody is listening to Harikatha every day. How are you going to learn if you just decide, I will hear one day and 364 days I will forget? One day if I hear it is enough. No. Harikatha is meant to be heard every day. What is Harikatha? Again, there is a definition in our scriptures. Ida Harikatha is the words and instructions of the Lord to his pure devotees. Harikatha also includes the Lord's pastimes with his pure devotees. Both is Harikatha. Bhagavad Gita is Harikatha because you are hearing directly from the lips of the Lord. Bhagavatam is Harikatha because it's all about Lord Krishna and Lord Vishnu's interactions with their various devotees. So when we get bewildered in life and we want answers, you should seek the shelter of a spiritually enlightened person. You should not approach other family members for advice unless they are well versed in scriptures. So to solve life's deepest questions, you should go to Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Guru who has read the scriptures. Sadhu is other Vaishnavas who are practicing their sadhana. Shastra are the scriptures themselves. So these three should be the sources of information for you to help unlock the mysteries of the problems that we face in life. So now Arjuna has said, okay, Krishna, I'm all yours. Now only orally he said that. He still has not surrendered. He's telling I am surrendering Krishna, but the real surrender happens in 18th chapter only. So for that long, Krishna has to speak, answer questions, ask Arjuna, are you listening carefully? If you have any doubts, don't worry, I'm ready to explain all over again. Krishna is a very patient teacher. The word Guru means heavy. The planet Guru, Jupiter, no, it's considered very heavy. So here, when Krishna begins the Bhagavad Gita, so the Bhagavad Gita officially begins in the 11th shloka of the 2nd chapter, and it ends in the 66th shloka of the 18th chapter. So from 2.11 to 18.66 is the Bhagavad Gita. And Guru means heavy. Heavy means to scold, to chastise. And that's the first thing Krishna does. He says, Ashocyan anvashochastvam pragyavadamscha bhashase gatasuna gatasumscha nanu shochanti panditaha. What is Krishna saying? While speaking learned words, you are mourning for what is not worthy of grief. Those who are wise lament neither for the living nor for the dead. Krishna is telling Arjuna, you're speaking like a great Pandit, but actually you're not a Pandit. You are pretending to be one. Don't you know that if you were really a Pandit, you would not worry about somebody dying? Because you see death all around you every day. Trees die, animals die, insects die, human beings die, family members die. You witness it every day. So why should that come as a surprise to you? That death is a fact of life. So Krishna is saying a wise person will know death is coming, even if it means death of loved ones. Therefore, they are not going to grieve for the dead or even grieve for the living, because they know this is all part of a great cycle of karma. That means Krishna is saying, go beyond birth and death. Go deeper, Arjuna. Go deeper into the scriptures. So Guru means you have to listen, you have to learn, and you have to apply. So the disciple has to listen, learn, apply. Not just, as Prabhupada says, one should not keep gurus like as if it is a fashion statement. Guru means you're ready to obey the Guru. Only then Guru will actually bless you. You will get the mercy of Guru when you're ready to listen and follow the instructions of Guru. Otherwise, Guru is of no use. So Krishna begins by telling Arjuna about Atma. Dehinosman yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhirastattra na mohyate. Krishna is saying, as the embodied soul. Embodied means the soul is trapped within the body. Continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age. The soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. So Arjuna could say, but then, Krishna, I love them. How can you say after they die, I should not experience any grief? So grieving is a normal process. When somebody passes away, we grieve. Krishna is not saying don't grieve. Krishna is saying don't get so attached that the other person has left. Because you know, the minute the soul exits the body, it goes and occupies another body. So your relationship ends at the time of the death of your loved one. Because the soul is not attached to you anymore. It was that body that you were attached to. So just think about it. When we have relationships with the other human being, it is based on the body. We never have relationships based on the soul. The only time when you can actually have a soul-to-soul relationship is when you understand that both of you are children of the same Lord. Then you've begun your journey on the path of the soul. Until then, all relationships is just based on the external body. It is not deeper than that. And that is why Krishna is criticizing Arjuna, saying, you're talking like a Pandit, but you've forgotten you are Atma. Okay, so if you love Bhishma Dev, you love Dronacharya, no problem. But you should also remember that if they leave this body, they will take another body. So why are you worried about that body? Because the soul is eternal, body is temporary. So science says that every day your body is undergoing so many changes. Your cells are continuously being renewed. As a matter of fact, once in 7 years, your entire body is new. Because everything gets replaced and you don't even know that this is happening to you. That's the miracle of life. So many changes are undergoing in your body, but you don't know. So what is this Atma Jnana? Krishna is telling Arjuna, there are two types of bodies that we have. One is called the gross body. It is made of the Panchabhutas, earth, water, air, fire, and ether. And we also have one more body that we cannot see, but we know it exists. I cannot see my mind, but I know my mind exists because there are so many thoughts swirling in it. I cannot see your mind, but I know your mind exists because you are processing thoughts as well. So the Sthula Sharira and the Sukshma Sharira. The Sthula Sharira is the gross body. Sukshma Sharira means subtle. So your mind, intelligence, and false ego are your subtle companions. So at the time of death, what happens? You give up your physical body. So what happens to the Sukshma Sharira? It doesn't die. Your mind is still there. Your intelligence is still there. And that false ego is covering the soul. So at the time of death, your subtle body travels with the soul until it is ready to enter a new body. So every birth, you are carrying your mind, intelligence, and false ego with you. That does not change. The only thing that changes every birth is the type of body that you get. You could be born as a lizard, you could be born as a tree, you could be born as a devata. Only the external body changes. The subtle body and the soul is traveling. So when do you lose your subtle body? At the time of moksha. At the time of moksha, you have to give up two bodies. Your gross body and your subtle body. So only when you're ready to give up your false ego, then only the soul exists as Satchidananda. Then you realize, I am Atma. So it is this Atma Jnana that Krishna is instructing Arjuna about. He gives detailed explanation of the soul, how the soul cannot die. Nobody can kill the soul that is occupying Bhishma's body. So Krishna is saying, do you really think it is your weapons that is killing Bhishma and Dronacharya and others? It's not your weapon. Your weapon is just an instrument. I have already decided that they have to give up their body. This Krishna will say in the 11th chapter to Arjuna. Krishna will tell Arjuna, I have already put to death all these people on the battlefield. Arjuna, you can just become my instrument. Take the credit for the victory. Actually, Krishna is saying, I'm orchestrating everything, but I'm happy for my devotees to take the credit, even though I'm the one who's doing it. Therefore, you notice, when we understand who we are, look at the language. We say, my hand, my leg. That means my is different, hand is different. If your hand and your soul are one and the same, you will say, I hand, I leg, I eyes, right? But you say, this hand belongs to me. This leg belongs to me. So then who is this me? Who is this I? That is when you realize this I is not the body. This I that you're referring to is the soul. Right now, the soul is covered by false ego. Therefore, there is misidentification happening. And Krishna is saying, get rid of this misidentification. because your real identity is that you are Atma. And as Atma, you have duties and responsibilities. So even if we're going through tough times, one thing that the scriptures say is suicide is not an option. Because the Puranas explain that if a person commits suicide, then the soul wanders around without being able to get a gross body. So they are called bhutas and pretas. They are constantly wandering around. A few days back, it was Mahalya Amavasya. One of the reasons that we do this Pitru Paksha is if any of our forefathers are trapped in this way where they cannot get another physical body because they've committed suicide, then by doing this Pitru Paksha, you can release that soul so that at least it can go occupy a physical body and continue its journey. So whatever troubles you're going in life, suicide is not an option because it's a terrible punishment for the soul. So now Krishna is going to talk about the two duties. So in this picture, you see a cage and you see a bird. Which is more important, the cage or the bird? Which is more important? Is the cage more important or is the bird more important?
Yeah, so sorry, dear.
Bird is more important. Okay. So now Krishna is going to say, you human beings are so foolish. You keep polishing the cage, polishing the cage, polishing the cage, and you forget the bird inside. What does that mean? We spend so much money on our physical body to clothe it, to dress it, to feed it. And we forget the Atma that is within. So if you only take care and polish the cage, keep it nice and shiny, and forget the bird inside, what will happen to the bird? It's going to wither away. Similarly, as a human being, you've got this beautiful human form. If all you do in your life is take care of your body, take care of your family, children, mother, wife, etc., their bodies also, and you don't ever worry about your Atma, then the Atma is suffering. Because you are not paying attention to yourself. In the Ishopanishad, there is a very nice shloka. It says, any person who willfully does not practice spirituality, they are actually committing Atmaha, spiritual suicide. Not only should we not do physical suicide, but Krishna is saying all of you are practicing spiritual suicide. And how will you be happy? Because you are just torturing the soul. So hence, Krishna will talk about two dharmas that are important. The first dharma is Swadharmam apichavekshya navikam pitumarhasi dharmadhyuddha shreyonyata kshatriyasya na vidyate. Considering your specific duty as a kshatriya, Krishna is telling Arjuna, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And so there is no need for hesitation. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, get up and fight, stand up and fight, be bold and fight. Fight, 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 fight. That's Krishna's instructions to Arjuna. Because Krishna is saying, our duties based on the body comes from Varna and Ashrama. There are 4 Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. And the 4 Ashramas, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasis. Krishna is saying, what is the most important duty for a Kshatriya? Is to uphold and protect Dharma. Very rarely will a Kshatriya get an opportunity to fight, to uphold Dharma. So when the opportunity comes to uphold Dharma, you should take it. Brahmana is not supposed to fight. Brahmana is not supposed to have weapons. A Brahmana's duty and responsibility is very different than a Kshatriya's duty and responsibility. Brahmana must not engage in violence. Kshatriya can engage in violence in order to protect citizens and in order to uphold Dharma. Kshatriyas can engage in violence. So every Varna will have its own duty. Every ashrama will also have its own duty. So two things. First is Arjuna is a Kshatriya. Second is he is not a brahmachari, he is not a sannyasi, he is not a vanaprastha, he is a grahastha. A brahmachari has duties and responsibilities. The minute the brahmachari gets married, then he takes on new sets of duties and responsibilities as a married man. When a married man has married off all of his young children, he should retire from his wife and children and go into vanaprastha. A vanaprastha has duties and responsibilities. A sannyasi has duties and responsibilities. A vaishya has duties and responsibilities. A shudra has duties and responsibilities. Now, these duties and responsibilities are based on your body. So, Krishna is encouraging Arjuna, one should never give up one's duty and responsibility based on the body. So, this can keep expanding. If I'm in the body of a woman, I have a duty as a woman. If I'm a daughter, I have a duty as a daughter. If I'm a daughter-in-law, I have a duty as a daughter-in-law. If I'm a son, I have my duties as a son. So this is the first duty that Krishna talks about, which is, hey Arjuna, you're a Kshatriya. You are supposed to fight. How can a Kshatriya run away from the battlefield? So Krishna will chastise Arjuna and say, aren't you worried about your reputation? If you run away, people may make fun of you. Up until now, you've been known as a great warrior. Now there's one single war and you want to run away. What will people think of you? People will no longer remember you as the greatest archer there ever was. They will only remember you for giving up and running away. Not being strong, not being firm, not worried about your duty. So hence Swadharma means dharma based on your body. So that extends my dharma towards me, my family, my society, my nation, and so on and so forth, and it keeps going up. But Krishna says there is one more dharma, Arjuna, which is very, very important. What is this? This is called Sanatana Dharma or Nitya Dharma. This dharma applies to every human being, whether he's a Muslim, he's a Hindu, he's an atheist, he's a Christian, he's a Parsi, he's a Jew. This does not change for anybody based on their external body, because this duty is based on the soul, the Atma. So here Krishna is saying, Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gachyantya. What is this duty Krishna is talking about? By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. Which means, how can you get free from your karmic reactions? To get free from your karmic reactions, Krishna says you have to do Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga is the same as Bhakti Yoga. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead, which means going back to Vaikuntha. That means if you're a Christian, you should have a relationship with your God. If you're a Muslim, you should have a relationship with God. If you're a Hindu, you should have a relationship with God. You have this eternal relationship with God, and therefore don't forget it. Make sure you are practicing bhakti. So 2 duties Krishna is talking about. Swadharma, based on your body, and Nitya Dharma or Sanatana Dharma, which means the Atma, Krishna is saying, is permanently related to Paramatma. It's permanently connected to Paramatma. So the Atma must serve the Paramatma just as Guru is served by the Shishya. The Atma must serve Paramatma. This duty applies to all human beings, because it's only in human birth that you can get moksha. Yes, very rarely, even in animal birth, sometimes the Lord has given moksha even to animals. But the animals don't have to practice bhakti. Human beings have to practice bhakti. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, when do you feel imbalance in life? When you're only doing swadharma and you've completely forgotten about Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means eternal. Because the soul is eternal, Atma is eternal, Paramatma is eternal. So that duty, if you forget to do, then there'll be complete confusion and havoc in your life. There'll be a lot of suffering, there'll be a lot of imbalance. Therefore, Krishna says, think it over. Balance your life. How to balance? Later on, Krishna will tell Arjuna, all you have to do is follow my instructions. Then your life will be balanced. That means don't only focus on Swadharma, you must focus on Sanatana Dharma. Because Sanatana Dharma has to do with Atma. Therefore, Atma Jnana is the core essence of the 2nd chapter. The Atma has a relationship, and based on that relationship as servant, the servant must serve the master, Atma must serve Paramatma. And we always say Paramatma is Krishna. We say Vishnu Paramatma or Krishna Paramatma, right? We don't say Ganesha Paramatma or Skanda Paramatma or Devi Paramatma. Paramatma means Krishna. Paramatma means Vishnu, Narayana. So therefore, Krishna says your Atma Tattva you understand. Once you've understood it, then you will follow your correct duties and responsibilities. So our real ID card and the only ID card that we carry with us from birth to birth to birth is that I am Atma. The soul has not changed. Only the body keeps changing. So how to become permanently happy? Krishna says, Prasade sarva dukkhanam anirasyopajayate prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhif paryavatishthate. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. So here, when Krishna is talking about the threefold miseries, Krishna is referring to the 3 kleshas. Adhyatmika klesha, Adi bhautika klesha, and Adi daiva klesha. Which means the sufferings we inflict on ourselves through our thoughts, through our decisions, through our actions. Sufferings inflicted on us by other jivatmas and sufferings inflicted on us by devatas. And essentially, Krishna is saying, you become my devotee, you will become free from these 3 kleshas, these 3 miseries. This is the essence of all life. We make life difficult for ourselves, therefore we suffer. Other jivatmas make life difficult for us. On top of that, you have Prakriti making life difficult for you with floods, with forest fires, with earthquakes, with tsunamis. Something is always happening. Krishna says, therefore, if you want to really enjoy full happiness, you will always stay connected to me. You will never disconnect from me. So when the Atma is disconnected from Paramatma, it experiences suffering. When the Atma is continuously connected to Paramatma, it experiences bliss. Even if this body is undergoing suffering, the Atma is happy. Because the Atma is using this body to practice devotion, bhakti. Therefore, Krishna says lasting happiness means you have to focus and do your sanatana dharma. If you do your duties based on Atma with determination and enthusiasm, you will be happy, Krishna says, not just in this life, even in the afterlife, you will be happy. Why will you be happy? Because you're connected to God. So imagine if I have a mobile phone and the battery keeps going down, what do I have to do? I have to recharge that battery. I have to connect it to the source of power. Krishna is saying, I am the source of power for all of the jivatmas. If you disconnect from me, then your battery is going to drain. So if you want to recharge your battery and always be full of life and full of happiness, then you have to connect with me. And to be connected to Krishna, the password for that is bhakti. So in this particular chapter, Krishna has talked about what is Atma Jnana, the two sets of duties that are important for us, with Sanatana Dharma taking a priority. And Krishna has also told us how you can be always happy. Okay. So with that, we've concluded the second chapter. Keep in mind, we are doing these chapters at a very high level. There are so many shlokas in chapter 2. But we are giving you the essence of chapter 2, the most important message from chapter 2. So now I have a question which you can respond to in the chat. So we'll go into Q&A session.